The crystal flute rang out with a sharp, piercing chime. Cutting through the low hum of conversation, my sister, Clara, stood on the raised hearth of my fireplace, her sequin dress catching the light of the chandelier I had installed 3 months ago. She looked radiant, triumphant, and entirely delusional. Around her, 30 of our mutual friends and family members turned, smiles plastered on their faces, waiting for the midnight countdown. But Clara wasn't interested in the time. She was interested in the territory. I just want to say, Clara announced, her voice trembling with theatrical emotion, that this year has been a struggle. But look at us now, we made it through, and I am so proud to announce that this beautiful house is finally ours. We are putting down roots. To the new owners, she raised her glass high. The room erupted in polite applause. My mother wiped a tear from her eye, whispering to my aunt about how Clara finally deserved a break. My brother-in-law, Dave, smirked from the corner, swirling his bourbon like a man who had conquered a kingdom he didn't pay for. I stood by the patio doors, the cold glass pressing against my back. I didn't clap, I didn't smile. I just checked my watch. 11:58 p.m. Clara had moved in temporarily 8 months ago. It was supposed to be a 2-week stay while their apartment complex underwent emergency fumigation. 2 weeks turned into a month turned into a season. Slowly, my boundaries were eroded. My home office became Dave's gaming sanctuary. My guest towels were replaced with her monogram linens. When I asked about their apartment, the conversation was always deflected with guilt trips about family loyalty and how hard the market was. But I hadn't been idle. I hadn't been passive. I had simply been patient. I took a slow sip of my sparkling water. The carbonation burned pleasantly. I watched Clara descend from the hearth, accepting hugs, acting the part of the gracious hostess in a home where she didn't pay a dime toward the mortgage, the electric bill, or the property taxes. 11:59 p.m. Clara, I said. My voice wasn't loud, but it cut through the room with the precision of a scalpel. The room quieted. Clara turned, her smile tight, sensing the shift in atmospheric pressure. Oh, don't be a sourpuss, Alex. Come join the toast. I think you're confused, I said. Stepping away from the wall, I walked toward the center of the room, the crowd parting instinctively. You said ours, but the deed has one name on it, mine. Clara laughed, a nervous, brittle sound. We're family, Alex. What's yours is ours. We're settling in. We're finally happy here. You signed a document, I said, pulling my phone out of my pocket. Do you remember 3 months ago, when I told you that you had overstayed your welcome, and Mom begged me to give you until the end of the year to find a place? Clara rolled her eyes. That was just paperwork to shut you up. You wouldn't kick family out. I agreed to let you stay until the end of the year. I continued, my voice flat. I had my lawyer draw up a fixed-term occupancy agreement. You signed it because you thought I was bluffing. You thought I was weak. It's New Year's Eve, Alex. Dave shouted from the corner, stepping forward aggressively. Don't ruin the vibe. I held up my phone. The digital clock face was bright white against the black background. 12 a.m., January 1st. Happy New Year, I said. The year is over. Your contract expired 60 seconds ago. You're insane. Clara spat, her face flushing red. We aren't going anywhere. This is our home now. No, I said, pointing to the front door. It was a hotel, and checkout time has passed. The heavy oak front door echoed with 3 sharp, authoritative knocks. The timing was impeccable. I had arranged for the private security detail off-duty officers I hired for party control to be standing on the porch at precisely midnight. Clara froze. The guests shifted uncomfortably, the champagne suddenly tasting flat in their mouths. I walked to the door and opened it. 2 large men in dark uniforms stood there, their expressions neutral and professional. Is there a problem, sir? One asked, though he knew exactly what the situation was. I had briefed them an hour ago. I have 2 trespassers who are refusing to vacate the premises, I said, loud enough for the room to hear. Their occupancy agreement ended at midnight. I'd like them removed. Clara dropped her glass. It shattered on the hardwood, champagne foaming over the expensive rug she had claimed she was going to replace but never did. You called the police on your own sister. I called security onto squatters, I corrected. You have 5 minutes to grab your essentials. The rest of your things will be in a storage unit by Monday. I'll text you the code once you pay. The first month's fee. The humiliation was absolute. There was no shouting match, no brawl. Dave looked at the security guards, sized them up, and realized he had no leverage. He put his head down and started walking toward the guest suite. Clara stood paralyzed, looking to her mother for support, but even Mom stayed silent. The reality of the legal contract and the security team overriding her usual guilt tactics. The party dissolved instantly. Guests grabbed their coats, muttering awkward apologies, fleeing the scene of the execution. 10 minutes later, the house was silent. The front door clicked shut, the lock engaging with a heavy thud. I walked back into the living room, the shattered glass was still on the floor. I picked up the broom. I swept out the shards of Clara's toast, dumped them in the trash, and poured myself a fresh glass of champagne. I sat on my couch. In my silence, in my house. It was a very happy new year.